Burns, Fire Behavior Analyst with California Interagency Incident Management Team 2 with your May 21st update of the east zone of Hermit's Peak Calf Canyon fire. So the big story is yesterday the cold front came in a little bit sooner than what was predicted, and it's actually given us some pretty decent conditions to go after this fire today and probably for the next several days. Temperatures today are about 20 degrees cooler than yesterday, but more importantly is the relative humidity has gone up significantly, and we have cloud cover. With that cloud cover, it shades the fuels out so that the fire actually has to struggle and work harder to burn those materials. One of the fuels that we use, we classify the fuels in different classes, and one of them's what we call a 1 hour fuel. That's grass, pine needles, things like that. With the RH recovery, those fuels are kind of out of play for a little bit. So the fire has to actually work a little bit harder to get going, and it reduces that potential for spot fires to actually take hold. So that's a positive of what the weather is. So now I'll jump into what's going on. We're not expecting any movement on the east zone on the fire today. Things are looking really good, and the crews are actually going after it direct. I'll start down here to the south along 434, working on up to Guadalupita. We're really confident that the fire is going to hold along there to the point where they're actually starting to pull hose, what we call backhaul, removing all the trash that the firefighters left and all those materials. So that is in motion today all the way up to Guadalupita. As I mentioned yesterday, all the structure prep has been done in Sierra Bonita, and the crews are working their way north. Yesterday, during those red flag conditions, we did have a little bit of rollout in this area. As a reference point, it's north of Chacon and kind of off the 121. This is super, super steep ground. Crews got after it. They got it wrong yesterday. So today they're going to try and mop that in. They're going to use aircraft as support. It was about an acre or so, but they're real confident that they're going to hold on to that. And that was really the only fire issue that we had yesterday. Everything else held in place, what we're dealing with. So our focus has been to try and build out contingency lines so that when the weather does become more favorable, and if the fire decides it wants to get up and roll, we're going to be in place and be able to do with that. So having said that, we've got structure place prep going on at Black Lake Mesa, Black Lake, and Hidden Lake. Talking to the folks that are out there, they figure by the end of business tomorrow, so around 7 o'clock tomorrow night, that the structure prep in those three areas will be completed. And what we're doing is we're just kind of moving north and doing that structure prep. So, we'll start getting into the south side of Angel Fire. We do have resources from California that have come in from the state, and they're actually helping identify those areas that we need to do that structure prep up in the Angel Fire area. Coming out to the actual line, the line construction is continuing to the north, and then we're inserting some crews and equipment just at the summit there on the 64, and they're going to start working their way south. Hopefully they're going to be able to meet somewhere in the middle. Right now it's just dozers, but we're bringing in some logging equipment. I believe you saw the last briefing where what we're trying to do is build a shaded fuel break, so not removing all the trees and all that, but giving us an area where we can go after the fire if we have to, if it continues to move north. We also have some structure prep going on north of the 64, and they're almost out to the highway here. One other area where we're working is we have a contingency division, and he's working with local landowners to find areas, and you can see some of these maps. We're using road systems, and then areas where the local landowners have said where fires have held before and improving those lines. So he's actually embedded with them and using the information that they're providing to him to build some contingency lines. Hopefully they'll never be used, but in the future, God forbid there's another fire, you'll have some areas that'll check that fire spread. So that's your update for May 21st, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.